tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
I am back. The microphone will start to tilt down after a little bit. It was like really low. How low can you go? How low can you go? Answer this way. Thank you, Colorado Access, for telling me 7 months too late about something. Thanks. Oh, what? Come here. There's always some cat that wants attention around here. It's a good kitty. Good kitty. Meow. That means I love my dad. Meow. Oh, back in black. I hit the sack. I bet you know I'm glad to be back as I'm let loose from the noose that's kept me hanging around. Okay, can't sing any more of it, or my video will be cut. Amber, I used to be able to go pretty low on skates. Oh, yeah, a little bit of limbo skating. Yeah. I think I'd be able to go about this low now. Not too low. My knees and my back just, they ain't what they used to be. Just got out of therapy. I was supposed to have a call with my friend Dane, but he has a client, so I had a request to go live by one of my very consistent listeners, so I did. You could probably guess who it is. Yeah. I think it's kind of nice to be able to have enough time to be able to do things for my friends, because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this for a friend because I do stuff for me. Yeah. And we don't expect it. That's the cool thing. Oh, I got some good stuff out of my therapist too, because I was telling her about what I'm getting ready to do next. And what I don't want to do is blow HIPAA. If I'm going to go out with a camera and other people are going to be involved, it has to have some pretty strict rules. Even if I blurred the whole person out and changed their voice, you could still have indicators of where that person is or where they might be. And let's say I helped some guy out, right? And he was on camera, and he goes to detox, and then he goes through the system, and then he's out looking for a job, but because of my Facebook post, he can't get it. See, what about that? So the people I am helping will never be on camera. Nope. No names. They will not be on camera. The best I'll be able to do is updates on what we did for the day, how many people we were going to be able to help. But that is going to have to be the extent of it. What I may do when it comes to this is I may just get first names. I'll just say, give me your first name, last initial. And that's what I will write down. I won't even write down their last names. But I have to be a very, very good example on this, or it won't fit what it is that I do. So, yeah. Yeah, got to work with a new sponsee today, but uh, this person's been through the steps. They're a recovered alcoholic, so it's nice because it isn't even really sponsee. It's just a couple friends getting together reading the big book, which I find enjoy. I like doing that. I like helping other people out. So um, I have this weird thing of I know where you sat in your family. I know who you were. I'll know whether you were whether you were the clown or the scapegoat, the hero, the lost child. I will know. Yeah, there's patterns. But we're doing a random reading from the big book today. I'm 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 kind of bragging here. That was one thing somebody brought up to me that I tend to brag a little bit. So I'm gonna be watching that. All right. I'm gonna do one. I just really like what my therapist had to say. She said, Dion, a lot of people in this world, they if somebody's out throwing rocks, they'll be the second, third, maybe the 100th person throwing the rock. Not you. You're the one that starts throwing the rocks. I don't need other things, other people to be motivated to make a difference in my community. And I do not ask for permission. I don't need permission. I already have it. God gave it to me. Whether you believe me or not is not required. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm 55 years old and still figuring out what I'm going to be when I grow up. So don't feel too bad if you haven't figured it out either. If you're here, please say hello. Say, what you doing, Dion? Say, gosh, Dion, that is some pretty hair you have going on. Good news, and I'll make sure the word gets spread out on the 21st. The 21st, so next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, I will be going live with Jeff Allen. Now, usually when it comes to the podcast, it is pre-recorded. Almost, it's kind of what, but in this situation, I thought I would number one. I asked Jeff to make sure that he was okay with it, and he wants to do it. He'd rather go live, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna share my time. I just put it because this way because it's funny. So I'm gonna share my time with Jeff with you because I'm that nice. Yeah, because I'm that good of a friend. I figure, hey, it's just the more the merrier in this case. Yeah. Right. All right. So we're gonna do a random reading from the big book. I usually ask, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Chat GPT. And I'm gonna give me a random reading because it won't, if I go to Google and say, give me a random number between 1 and 164, well, that leaves out a lot of stuff. A random page from the big book. It knows exactly what I'm talking about too. That's kind of nice because I have fed it all my stuff. And the answer is I need to slow this 1 inch for a legit reason. And then I'll give you something useful. See right here. Right. It said the doctor's opinion, Roman numeral XXVIII. All right. So see, it gave me the doctor's opinion. I know exactly where that's at too. I know page 28. All right. Do you know your Roman numerals? You should. X equals 10, V equals 5, I equals 1. All right. XVII. What's that? Well, it's 17. Now, if there was an I in front of the V, it means it's a 4. Because Roman numeral I's only go up to 3, not 4. All right. So page 28, which will be X, X, V, I. Here. Right? Here. All right. That's that. Remember what is said here remains here. I have too many tabs. How many tabs do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I have and 23 with ChatGPT. I'm surprised that this is not that the video hasn't lagged because I'm consuming. I got to shut a lot of these things down. I got too many. All right. So I am actually going to start on page 27 where the doctor writes his second letter. I'm going to start at the beginning of that. We don't usually cover this part of it. Usually we go right into the, into the deep, hard stuff. So let's read his letter from the beginning. We're not going to read the whole thing. It is in small print and kind of long. I'm going to read the paragraph right before the doctor writes again. Though we work our solution on the spiritual as well as the altruistic plane, we favor hospitalization for the alcoholic who is very jittery or befogged. More than often than not, it is imperative that a man's brain be cleared before he is approached, as he has a better chance of understanding and accepting what we have to offer. In our case, what would we call this? Blowing zeros. Means they're blowing zeros. So the BAC machine, right? For me, right, I was blowing zeros, after 2-3 days, but I was still detoxing. Yeah. My blood pressure was really, really, really high. Like kill you high. All right. So before we make the approach, they should usually, they need to at least be able to understand what it is that you're talking about at the moment. What do they call that? I forget. It'll come to me. Okay. The doctor writes, the subject presented in this book seems to me to be of paramount importance to those afflicted with alcohol addiction. I say this after many years' experience as a medical director of one of the oldest hospitals in the country treating alcohol and drug addiction. Therefore, there was a sense of real satisfaction when I was asked to contribute a few words on a subject which is covered in such masterly detail in these pages. Now, I want you to put yourself in Dr. Silkworth's shoes. Dr. Silkworth was a non-alcoholic. He was not alcoholic. But I would guarantee, I would be willing to bet he lost somebody to alcoholism, a mother, a father. I'm willing to bet he was the hero growing up in his alcoholic family. Yes. I'll put money on it. Please go find out. Because I want to know that I'm right. It's an educated guess is what it is. All right. I have to find out. But think about being, okay, so he has a servant's heart. So you know how you feel about helping people now, right? Okay. Now imagine not having the experience, but the heart. That might get pretty fucking frustrating. Yeah. Right. If it wasn't for Dr. Silkworth, we would not be here. Show some gratitude. I don't care if you believe in AA or not. If it wasn't for AA, you wouldn't have your ways right now either, or your little ways. Okay? Let's give credit where credit is due. The big book was divinely inspired. All right. We doctors have realized for a long time that some form of moral psychology was of urgent importance to alcoholics. What is the moral psychology here? It's the 12 steps. But its application presented difficulties beyond our conception. What with our ultra modern standards, our scientific approach to everything, we are perhaps not well equipped to apply the powers of good that lie outside our synthetic knowledge. What are the powers of good? That is God. He just said we don't get to use God. Why? I don't know. But, yeah. But that's where we come in, right? That's the powers of good. We are perhaps not well equipped to apply the powers of good that lie outside our synthetic knowledge, human knowledge. Many years ago, one of the leading contributors of this book came under our care in this hospital, and while here, he acquired some ideas which he put into practical application at once. Okay. This was through Ebby, his sponsor. And what Bill did is he went through the 6 tenets of the Oxford group. There again, another place that we should be grateful for. If the Oxford group wasn't around, we would not be here. Nope. Because if that didn't happen, then everything else in the world wouldn't have happened afterwards, and you and I wouldn't even know each other. Yeah. Maybe we would. I don't know. But do you see what's going on here? See, it was done perfectly. And only one thing can do it perfectly. All right. So he acquired some ideas which he put into practical application at once. Those were the 6 tenets of the Oxford group. Let's read off the 6 tenets. What are the 6 tenets of the Oxford group?
The Oxford group used 6 principles.
I don't need you to do that. All right. The Oxford group, a spiritual movement influential in the development of Alcoholics Anonymous, focused on self-improvement through 6 key principles: complete deflation, dependence on a higher power, a moral inventory, confession and restitution, and continued work with others in need, essentially forming the template for AA's later 12 steps. Okay, there we go. Without the Oxford group, no steps. All right. Later, he requested the privilege of being allowed to tell his story to other patients. What was he doing? He was passing it on like the Oxford group told him to do. This case we have followed through. Later, he requested privilege of being allowed to tell his story to other patients here. And with some misgivings, we consented. The cases we have followed through have been most interesting. In fact, many of them are amazing. The unselfishness of these men as we have come to know them, the entire absence of profit motive in their community spirit is indeed inspiring to one who has labored long and wearily in this alcoholic field. They believe in themselves and still more in the power that pulls chronic alcoholics back from the gates of death. All right. So they weren't going to let them do it, but something intervened. They weren't letting other people do it. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you a little bit of history. In the beginning, all right, in the beginning, Bill had to be tempered. At one point, Silkworth went to Bill and said, okay, Dr. Silkworth is the one that taught him how to 12-step the right way. But he's like, stop shoving it down their throats, Bill. He was being a little too much. He wasn't sticking to his experience. This is where education kind of comes in. For us, the education is doing it and screwing up and then doing it the right way. That's kind of our education. Or you can read Working with Others, and it'll tell you exactly how to work with somebody walking in, right? They believe in it and still the more in the power that pulls chronic alcoholics back from the gates of death. Before this, There were people who did get sober and recover. There's a lot of people out there that are sober. But how many are recovered? I'm a recovered alcoholic. I completed the steps. Do you use the 10th step daily? That's pretty much okay. Does it mean I'm cured of alcoholism? No. It means my thinking is no longer insane, that I get to use my brain again. Yeah, that's what it means. It means for the most part, I don't act out of character. I go with the flow. I understand the brotherhood, sisterhood, being a part of, sacrificing, discernment, a lot of things. And what is it? Well, it is the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. That is my guide. Well, am I doing this? Am I doing that? No, I'm not. Then maybe I shouldn't do it that way. All right. Of course, an alcoholic ought to be freed from his physical craving for liquor. This often requires a definite hospital procedure before psychological measures can be of maximum benefit. Lucid. That was the word I was looking for. We need the person to be at least a little lucid, which means that they can at least kind of use their brain. But there's a balance here. And I hate to say it this way, but it's true. We get them when they're desperate. That is the best time to get an alcoholic. When they are going through something, right after they did something wrong. That's usually the best time. If you can catch them in detox because they just got a DUI, that's even better. Oh. Because you can utilize that stuff. You don't have to drink anymore if you don't want to. I got an answer. Not many people in this world get to say that. Not many people do. Did you realize that you were chosen to do some work? I'm going to rephrase that. Have you accepted the fact that God picked you to save his children? Have you accepted that? Because until you accept it, you don't want those consequences, man. The consequences of inaction are the worst. All right. Anyway, we believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy. Definition of chronic. Okay. Because when we say chronic, we think of the type of weed. Okay. So let's go look up the word. Well, some of us probably do. I did. That's what I went there. Yeah. Well, persisting for a long time or constantly recurring. Okay. So let's use that one. That'll be a better definition. All right. Is a manifestation of an allergy that the phenomenon. What does a phenomenon mean? Oh, Amber, you're gonna make me sad. I don't want to say that, but I'm gonna put it up though. So, Amber says catch them when their uncle is dying. Yeah. All right. Now I'm gonna cry. There's been a lot of death lately. A lot. And I know why I'm crying because I bet Amber's crying and it's making me cry. So you made me cry, which is not necessarily a bad thing. All right. These allergic types could never use alcohol in any form at all. And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it, once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and they become astonishingly difficult to solve. Sorry, I had to blow my nose real quick. All right. Now, why did they do that? Because I didn't work on my problems. Because I didn't work on them. So they piled up. Just like you remember checking the mail. Oh God, I hated checking the mail. I hated it. Unless my mom was sending me some money, then I checked it every day all the time. Because there were bills in there. Bills I couldn't pay. I ignored everything. How I kept a roof over my head, to this day, I have no idea how that happened. All right. And they pile up pretty darn quick. Now, some of these problems didn't exist for me. Some of my problems were made up. They were boogeymen. And these were the excuses that I kept. Why did I do this? Because my problems gave me an excuse to do what I wanted, which was drink. That's why. It's the only reason why. It provided me with an alibi. Can I get an alibi? Goes with witness, but it just did not work. That might be part of the problem. I have Substack open 3 times. Okay. Frothy emotional appeal seldom suffices. Begging won't do it. Not always. Not always. But over emotional, well, even then, I don't know. Interventions can get pretty emotional. Right. But I do agree that the message which can interest and hold these alcoholic people must have depth and weight. What is the depth and weight? It's the solution. It's you. You are the depth and weight. Why? Because you're a person with a solution to their problem. Every time I read this big book, it just reinforces that I need to approach the newcomer and extend my hand. I am responsible when anyone anywhere reaches out for help. I want the hand of AA always to be there. And for that, I'm responsible. We read it in every freaking meeting. Inaction has the worst consequences. When a newcomer comes in and your gut tells you to approach them and you do not, you are in danger of drinking. I know it sounds rough, but it's true. And for us, to drink is to die. Okay? I have another drink in me, but I don't know that I have another recovery. I don't know. And I'm not willing to take the chance. I'm not. So, in nearly all cases, their ideals must be grounded in a power greater than themselves if they are to recreate their lives. I haven't seen anybody. Okay, so I'd see a lot of sober people, but I don't see them recovering. Right? So, if any feel that as psychiatrists directing a hospital for alcoholics, we appear somewhat sentimental, here it comes. Let them stand with us a while on the firing line. See the tragedies, the despairing wives, the little children. You ever worked with somebody who's lost their kids due to their drinking? If not, you will eventually. It's hard. In fact, it is a lot of times it's the children that keep people out. Because all that, I just want to change, be better for my kids, I would die for my kids. I used to say that all the time. I used to die for my kids. And then somebody had enough balls to say this to me, and I'm glad that they did because they helped me get back to the program. That's great, Dion. Everybody's willing to die for their kids. That's not the question. The question is, would you get well for them? That's the question. Assholes. I say that because they were right. So that's what I did. I got sober for my wife and kids. To this day, I am still sober for my wife and kids. I do recovery for me because it's a much better life for me and my wife and kids. It's okay. My sobriety is not dependent on my wife and kids, but I do it for them because I love them. I do it for you because I love you. Even if you don't like me, I don't mind. You can hate me all you want. I'm still going to try and save your children. It's not going to stop me. Yeah. There's one thing about me. I don't stop. I don't give up. I don't. And I'm not going to give up here. See, I made the mistake of thinking I didn't need AA at it was about this time in my sobriety last time. I'm very proud of myself. I'm about to match and beat my old sobriety time. Come April. Come April, and I'll give it a couple months. 10 years. Yep. All right. So let the solving of these problems become a part of their daily work. And even in their sleeping moments, and the most cynical will not wonder that we have accepted and encouraged this movement. Okay. So before we make judgments, before we do these other things, go walk a mile in somebody else's shoes first before you make that judgment. Okay. And if you're not an alcoholic, if you're trying to learn what alcoholism is about, thank you for that. I appreciate you trying to educate yourself more and learning what you can. But if you're not really trying to learn why an alcoholic does what an alcoholic does, then just shut the fuck up. Because none of your business. You're just using that alcoholic or addict to make yourself feel better. And we ain't buying it, folks. Nobody's buying it. All right. Stop playing the victim. All right. We feel, after many years of experience, that we have found nothing which has contributed more to the rehabilitation of these men than the altruistic movement now growing up among them. And I dare you, I double dog dare you to go find a better program to this day that has helped more alcoholics, that has helped more people. The 12 steps have helped more people than everything else combined. Everything. Why? Because it works. And you can either spend your time looking for the easier, softer way or do the work. Be nice, Sawyer. Be nice, dude. All right. Men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. Well, it certainly isn't the taste. People that drink alcohol for a taste confuse me because it tastes horrible. It was an acquired taste that I never acquired. Thank God for the burn, right? Well, no, not thank God for the burn. We can thank the devil for that one, right? The burn. All right. It's only the first one I got to get down. After that, my throat's kind of numb, so I don't really, yeah. Actually, the thought of Beam and Coke does make my mouth water a little bit to this day. I'd have to. I'm drooling a little right now. Yeah, but it's because I'm used to that taste. It isn't the taste. It's not why my mouth is one. It's because my brain remembers what it was like, the effect that was produced by it. Now I don't need that effect. I don't need that effect because I already got it. And we'll get to that. The sensation is so elusive. Let's look up elusive. So you think you know these words, but we don't always know these words. Come on. Definition of elusive. Difficult to find, catch, or achieve. All right. Now that we know what that means, okay, the sensation is so far gone that while they admit it is injurious, yeah, I know, but so I'll die a little bit before my time. But that's not, it goes so much further than that while they admit it is injurious, they cannot after a time differentiate the truth from the false. There it is. I didn't know the truth from the false because I couldn't be honest. I didn't know how. I had to be taught how to be honest. Okay? Maybe you didn't, but I have found that most alcoholics do need to be taught that. But I'm not going to make an assumption for everybody. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. Sounds like perception, huh? Amber says she's back. Welcome back. It's because she's picking up Isaac. Hi, Isaac. I hope you had a good day at school. Love you, little man. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. They are restless, irritable, and discontented. Okay. You want dry January? There you go. You can have that. You can be restless, irritable, and discontented. Okay. You want to be sober? That's what you're going to have. Recovery, sobriety, then recovery. Okay. But it says, unless they can again experience a sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. Others they see taking with impunity. You know what impunity means? We're going to look it up. It means without consequence. Okay. But unless they can again experience a sense of ease and comfort, I get this without alcohol now. I do not need alcohol to experience ease and comfort anymore. I don't need it. So therefore, the impunity of others drinking no longer affects me. Right? So we said that it was lack of consequences, but let's go see what impunity actually means. Definition of impunity. Exemptment from punishment or freedom from injuries or consequence. Yay! It's almost like I looked up that word before. All right. After they have succumbed to the desire again. And which part is that? That is the I promise I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink ever again. I am so done with this. I hate alcohol. Oh, I hate it. And we act like we hate it so much that we're just going to leave it. Okay. It's the promises that we make, even to ourselves. And we meant it. At the time, we mean it. We wholeheartedly. But not honestly. Almost every alcoholic that walks into the rooms has a lurking notion. Right. There are very few people that this time when I came back in, I had no more lurking notions. But I knew this book before, and I have no more lurking notions. That means something that's a requirement that would allow me to drink. Right. After they come to that, and the phenomenon of craving develops, they pass through the well-known stages of a spree. Excuse me. Let me get a deep breath here. There we go. Okay. They pass through the well-known stage of a spree, emerging remorseful with a firm resolution not to drink again. This is repeated over and over, and unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there is very little hope of his recovery. Psychic change, I'm just going to cover real quick because I talk about it a lot. It just means that we're changing the way that we think. Okay, there's actually two parts to the psychic change. Psychic, mind, change. I changed my mind. I don't want to live this life anymore. But it is also the displacement of old behavior, changing the way that we think. Now, what did it say? It didn't say kind of a psychic change. It didn't say partial. It said entire. Okay. There's a part of the psychic change that happens at the very beginning. And then there's the part of the psychic change that's going to require the 12 steps. Yeah. So there's a couple parts to that. Whichever place you are at and helps you, use it. Use that. But it's got to be the whole thing. Entire psychic change. Now, sometimes people have a sudden spiritual experience like Bill did, where they change immediately. It happens. But most of us do not go through that. Okay. So if it didn't happen the way it happened with others, that's okay. God is doing for you what you can't do for yourself. You're not that other person. You're not that other person. right? Okay. On the other hand, and strange as it may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol. The only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules. There we are, recovered again. I have it written right there, recovered, page 85. That is a definition of a recovered alcoholic. Well, part of it. All right. Now, what did it say? That over here, that their problems pile up them and become astonishingly difficult to solve. And then we get back to easily able to control his desire for alcohol, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them. Huh. I'm at that point. I am easily able to control my desire for alcohol. I don't have a desire to drink. I don't. It was removed. It was removed. And all I have to do is follow a few simple rules. It doesn't say a few easy rules. It says simple. So let's remember, this is a simple program. Let's keep it that way. One more paragraph because I noticed we're at 40 minutes here. Well, maybe a few more. Men have cried out to me in sincere and despairing appeal, Doctor, I cannot go on like this. I have everything to live for. I must stop, but I cannot. You must help me. Faced with this problem, if a doctor is honest with himself, he must sometimes feel his own inadequacy. You're going to go through this too. You're a human being, right? I was talking to somebody and I reminded them that just because that they haven't taken anybody all the way through the steps, that they are still 100% successful because they are sober. That I couldn't even get myself sober. To think I'm going to get somebody else sober and keep them that way, that's a pretty big fucking ego. Yeah. No, it takes a tribe. It takes a tribe and God. Right? So you're going to feel your own inadequacy. It's okay. It's all right. Do the best that you can. Although he gives all that is in him, it is often not enough. One feels that something more than a human power is needed to produce the essential psychic change. Okay? Through the aggregate. That means total sum is a total sum. Right? It means total. So through the total of recoveries, that means all of them, resulting from psychiatric effort is considerable. We physicians must admit that we have made little impression upon the problem as a whole. Many types do not respond to the ordinary psychological approach. And a few reasons why. Alcoholics don't like being told what to do. We have a defiance that just runs deep. We will stand on our defiance rock. Okay. Now, somebody go make a meme of somebody standing on a huge rock that says defiance on it. Go for it. Go steal it. But you better give me credit. Just kidding. All right. Then he goes, I'm gonna do one more. God, there's just so much here. I do not hold with those who believe that alcoholism is entirely a problem of mental control. I've had many men who had, for example, worked a period of months on some problem or business deal, which was to be settled on a certain date favorably to them. They took a drink a day or so prior to the date, and then the phenomena of craving at once became paramount to all other interests, so that the important appointment was not met. These men were not drinking to escape. They were drinking to overcome a craving beyond their mental control. It's because it was in their favor. Because when we drink, when an alcoholic drinks, it doesn't it doesn't just go to it goes to more for us. Okay. It goes to the reward truth area when we drink. So if we're having a problem when we drink, we're telling it that's exactly what's supposed to happen. So what's happening here? Your brain is doing exactly what you told it to do. It did its job. Hey, we got an important date coming up. We can't have this, remember? We got to go drink. That's the most important thing right now. Don't worry about that appointment. We don't need to worry about it. There we go. There are many situations which arise out of the phenomena of craving, which cause men to make the supreme sacrifice rather than continue to fight, and that is suicide. That is what the supreme sacrifice is. The classification of alcoholics seems most difficult and in much detail is outside the scope of this book. There are, of course, the psychopaths who are emotionally unstable. We are familiar with this type. They're always going on the wagons for keeps. They're over remorseful and make many resolutions, but never a decision. What's step 2? It's made a decision. Made a decision. All right. You know what? Let's finish this page. All right. There is a type of man who is unwilling to admit he cannot take a drink. He plans various ways of drinking. He changes his brand or his environment. There's a type who always believes that after being entirely free from alcohol for a period of time, he can take a drink without danger. That's the biggest one. All right. Amber says going to pick up free stuff for Isaac today. Awesome. Yay. There's a type who always believes that after being dead for a period of time without drink, there's the manic depressive type who perhaps is the least understood by his friend and whom a whole chapter could be written. Then there are types entirely normal in every respect, except the effects alcohol has upon them. They are often able, intelligent, friendly people. There's about 90% of the people in AA. Okay. I am not of that type. I was the depressive. I'm the manic depressive type. I had other things that I had to take care of also. Right. So all these men. So it doesn't matter which type you are. This is the landing ground. This is the spot at which we all go. All these and many others have one symptom in common. One symptom. They cannot start drinking without developing the phenomenon of craving. The phenomena, as we have suggested, may be the manifestation of an allergy which differentiates these people and sets them apart as a distinct entity. Okay. They're not saying it here, but they're talking about the devil. See, you can't talk about God either. So he doesn't get to talk about the devil. But that's what that distinct entity is. It has never been, by any treatment with which we are familiar, permanently eradicated. The only relief is to suggest is entire abstinence. There it is. We'll do one small paragraph here. This immediately precipitates us into a seething cauldron of debate. Much has been written pro and con about much, but among physicians, the general opinion seems to be that most chronic alcoholics are doomed. And even to this day, they feel that way. Doctors didn't become doctors, not necessarily for the money. Not all of them are that, but because they wanted to help people. But when somebody is not willing to be honest with you about what is going on, it makes them very difficult for them to help you. Yeah. Still a lot of stigma. So, got to be honest. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here for this. All of a sudden, I almost always go live after my therapy. I had a 3:00 meeting, but it didn't work out. So God wanted something else. That's all right. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. Yeah, no, I do. Peace out and stuff and stuff and stuff. And keep on trudging.